Hello. So this week I'm going to do a response video to a response video. See, my good YouTube friend BioPhoenix did a response video to his good YouTube friend Xander Scully. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But anyway, he talked about his best and worst video game rentals. So, and I was like, I kind of think I would want to do something like that. A response video into his that, and I'll have the link to his video in the description. You can check it out. But where was I going with this? Yeah. So like him, I'm gonna do two and two. Two good games, two bad ones. Well, so to speak, or experiences, I should say. Not bad or good, whatever. But and then I'm gonna throw in a little funny bonus neutral thing at the end, which I think I've talked about before. But whatever. For those of you who are new here and such. Now all four of these, well, actually technically five, experiences all happened at the Blockbuster that used to be down the street from my mom's house, which I've talked about in other videos. It went out a bit. That one in particular went out like in the late 2000s. But anyway, I remember, I want to say it was the year 2000. They started carrying Game Boy games and Game Boy Color and stuff, and then the Game Boy Advance, which I believe launched in, I know it was 2001. I think it was August. And then that year, I got it for Christmas that year, along with a few games, but that's a whole other story, which I might actually do a video. I'll probably talk about that when I eventually do a Game Boy Advance video, because that's my favorite handle of all time. But anyway, I remember one of the first games I rented from there was Bomberman Tournament, which from Blockbuster. One of the first Game Boy Advance games I rented. Excuse me, back up a bit. Now, when most people think of Bomberman games, they think about, like, how can I put this? They think of the, the multiplayer. Yeah, I mean, hell, it's even what I usually think about when it comes to Bomberman. It's the classic, like, multiplayer battle mode. And, of course, there always was, like, the one-player mode, which, whether you call it a quest or adventure, arcade, whatever you want to call it, which, for most Bomberman games, it was basically just moving through mazes and, blowing up enemies with your bombs or, hitting switches to open doors and stuff like that. But there were other games, like Bomberman 64, for example, where they actually were more of an adventure mode. It was more, and that's what this one pretty much was. This, I definitely consider to be a hidden gem. The, adventure, I think it's actually called quest mode in this. The mode in this, it's actually why it's my favorite Bomberman game of all time, is the quest. But basically, it's, the best way to describe it, it's almost like a Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. So if you liked that game and you like Bomberman, this is definitely worth checking out. Another thing about this game is the music is just so good. It's like very, just, I don't know, like even just look up, I mean, it's not here, you can look at it here on YouTube, listen to like the music, it's so good, like mesmerizing. It's like some of it's just very calm, peaceful and stuff, and then there's like, probably one of my favorite themes is the Deadly Bomber Battle. It's just such an awesome boss music. And a funny thing about, you're probably like, what does this have to do with renting? Well, like I said, this was the first Game Boy Advance game I rented, and, I just fell in love with it. And it was always like, I was like, I need to buy that, and I just never got around to it until I finally did it, like, at a GameStop or Funko Land or whatever. But it was funny, like I said, this was the first game I rented, and then it was like, it was one of those games, because that was a funny thing about, is like how they had cartridge games that had like a save slot. I mean, like also they had like Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda and stuff, but it was like, I remember they also had the Pokemon games, the mainline ones and stuff. Yeah, and it was like, I wanted to rent this again, but I was kind of like, at one point I was like, I want to rent it again, and I was kind of like, what's the point? My save probably won't be on there or anything, but it was, like sometime, I don't know whether it was a year or like months later or whatever, I rented this game again, and my save was still on there. Like, I guess no one else had rented it, but I thought that was kind of a funny thing. Now, this one, in this story I've talked about a number of times on this channel, Skies of Arcadia Legends. Originally for the Dreamcast, I never played that version. This was like the director's cut, it's new features and stuff. absolutely amazing JRPG. I mean, it was this, like I said, I've mentioned this on this channel before, but like I said, for those of you who are new here, this was the first GameCube game I had rented, and within, it was probably like 5-day rentals or whatever, and it was like, fortunately, because of memory cards, I had it saved on my GameCube memory card, and it was just like, within the few days of playing it, I was like, I have to buy this game. I absolutely have to buy it. So, I think my brother and I went to GameStop. I don't know if it was Funko Land or not. It was probably GameStop. And this probably would have been like 2004, 2005, somewhere around that, because I got my GameCube for the Christmas of 2004. This is probably somewhere in 2005, would be my guess. Maybe 2006. Actually, maybe it was, yeah. Well, anyway, but yeah, there's such an amazing RPG, and I remember, there's like so many like characters and stuff. The instruction manual is just it's black and white, but it's very luminous. Like there's all these pictures of like characters and stuff, because there's a lot of characters in it. And what's cool, well, I've talked about this more on my channel, so I'm not going to go into all the details about this game again, but actually, that's what the music playing right now is from, but absolutely amazing JRPG, very unique battle system, it's great story, phenomenal music, and unfortunately, it is rare and expensive, so unless you want to put up the money for it, you could probably also try like a ROM hack maybe, or you could try your best to emulate it. I know sometimes GameCube games can be hard to emulate, but now we're going to move into the bad ones. And when I first say this one, you guys are probably going to be like, what? Mega Man 3. Now, here's the thing. This is actually my favorite Mega Man game. At least, not counting like all the other ones, like Mega Man X and all that stuff, but for the Mega Man series, just, that series, not the different series and stuff like Mega Man X and all stuff, but just Mega Man, this is my favorite, Mega Man game of all time. But, I had a little bit of a better experience. It was, I want to say, it had to have been 93 or 94. My family had rented, and this was like back when we used to all like, the my mom would take the three of us, my brother and my sister and I, to Blockbuster, and my brother would rent a game, my sister and I would each rent a movie. Sometimes I would rent a game instead of a movie. It, kind of varied. And that was, I figured it was my sister or my mom that rented it. We rented the movie Surf Ninjas. How many of you remember that one? And, we rented the movie Surf Ninjas, and I had rented Mega Man 3. And I was only like 6 or 7 at the time, and I absolutely sucked at this game. It was like, maybe it was just because I was so young. I don't know, I just struggled with it. I could not beat a single level. I couldn't get to a single boss. And I was like, what the hell? It wasn't until, like, my teenage years that I was able to do better. One game I always did really do well at this age was Mega Man X, and Mega Man X2, but, even though some of the later end bosses I struggled with, but, the original NES Mega Man games I kind of had trouble with when I was really young, and that was, kind of ruined my experience with renting the game, but like I said, years later I came to love the game because I got a lot better at it. Now, the other game, I don't own it, but it's Ogre Battle 64. Now, I remember, like, the first one for the Super Nintendo, which, I'm sure a lot of people consider this to be a hidden gem, that particular one, the SNES one. I remember, like, looking at the pictures of that and stuff in, like, magazines and stuff way back when, Nintendo Power, Game Pro, and all them, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of, some of the characters, I don't think I ever looked really at the gameplay, but I was like, oh, some of the characters in that look really cool, like, and I think my brother rented it, but I'm not 100% sure, and then, years later, in, like, probably the early 2000s, because I got my N64 for Christmas in 2000, so it was probably, like, somewhere in, like, that time period, like 2001, 2002, whatever, I rented Ogre Battle 64, and I don't even remember how much, I think I barely even, I don't know what it was, I just couldn't figure the game out, like, or something, I was just, I don't know, I got bored with it or something, or I just, probably would have helped if it came with instructions, but, I don't know, like, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't, like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? I was, like, confused as hell, and I was like, I think I never touched it again. Like, I mean, fortunately, I think I did rent 2 games, but, you know, that one I just barely touched because I don't know, I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get into it or something. Now, this last story, which I've mentioned before, is kind of, you know, but I thought I'd bring it up again just because it's kind of funny, and, you know, like I said, some of you may have never heard of it if you're new here. I was never big into Superman, despite the shirt I'm wearing. You know, compared to, like, other characters, like, Batman is probably one of my favorites. And I like both equally, Marvel and DC. But I was never really a big Superman fan. Then when I saw the movie Man of Steel, it made me one. You know, I thought that was an amazing movie. If you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, that made me a fan of Superman. But I remember, despite this, like, never being really a big fan of stuff, I did enjoy, like, in the late 90s and stuff, I did really enjoy the Superman animated series. And, I remember seeing the commercial for Superman 64, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't really notice, like, the gameplay, but it was just, like, the whole concept, or, like, the plot is what really caught my... I was like, you know, that actually sounds kind of cool. Like, you know, Lex Luthor kidnaps... Oh, what the hell's her name? Lois Lane and... it'll come to me. Jeremy... Oh, what the hell was it? No, Jimmy... Oh, what the hell was it? Jim, it'll come to me. She kidnapped... Lex Luthor kidnaps them, and then he's like, Jimmy Olsen. There. Right? I think that's his name, Jimmy Olsen. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, you know, Lex Luthor kidnaps them. It's like, if you want to save them, you have to solve my puzzles and stuff. And, you know, I was always big into puzzles and puzzle games and stuff, so I was like, oh, that actually sounds kind of cool, almost. But, you know, I didn't know about the... Well, I'm sure plenty of other people didn't know either, how infamously bad this game was, which actually probably wasn't infamously bad right from the get-go. It probably took a little bit of time for it to come out more, even though I'm sure there was plenty of reviews and, like, game magazines and stuff. But, yeah, I was gonna rent that. Like, I literally had it in my hands. Like, I was planning to rent it. And then, I think at the last minute, I rented something else. I don't remember what I rented, but I decided to rent something else instead. And it's funny, years later, I look back on that with, like, God, which started with things like X-Play. I mean, like, not X-Play, but, well, maybe, what the hell, G4, remember the gaming network, TV network channel? Like, I remember it was, like, on there, and then, you know, years later, we have, like, YouTube, like, countless people on YouTube are talking about it, you know, gaming channels and everything, and I'm just like, you know, when I look back, I'm like, you know, this was, like, almost 20 years ago, I look back on that, and I'm like, whoa, really? Dodged a bullet there. But, yeah, those are just some of my gaming rental experiences, you know, good, bad, neutral one. What are some of yours? Let me know in the comments section below, or if you have any funny ones with these games or something. And, you know, if you want, you could always do a response video, you know, to this. You know, maybe we can make this into a chain to see how far it goes. And probably not going to post anything next week because of, you know, Thanksgiving. But until then, thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you have a happy holiday. And, well, once again, thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and have a nice holiday, and stay safe.